And welcome everybody to another edition of the Brody File. Look where we are. It's Arkansas. No, it's not Arkansas. It's Times Square. It's New York. It's happening. It's hip. It ups the Brody File hip quotient when we're in New York. Anyhow, we're here, of course, because Donald Trump meeting with evangelicals, private closed-door meeting. Oh, except that the Brody File was inside. That's right. All right, no cameras, but I actually was inside. And let's go to my report from inside the Trump evangelical meeting. Boy, was it a biggie. Times Square always hustles and bustles, but just blocks away, the Marriott Marquis Hotel buzzed with activity of another kind, a private meeting between Donald Trump and evangelical leaders. It was a private event, but CBN News was permitted inside to observe. From mega-church pastors to longtime stalwarts, they heard Trump speak out about defending religious liberty, including his desire to get rid of IRS restrictions that muzzle political talk from the pulpit. Trump said a repeal may be, quote, my biggest contribution to Christianity. In that room, among the 900 evangelical leaders or so, there were quite a few that were not for Trump going into the meeting. After the meeting, well, some minds are changing.
The ball has moved forward a little bit, and I appreciate Mr. Trump's willingness to reach out to the evangelical community. After hearing him today, I will prayerfully consider it as a possibility in light of the alternative.
That alternative is Hillary Clinton. Trump made clear his Supreme Court picks would make them proud, unlike what Clinton might bring to the table. Trump also talked about how evangelicals need to band together because their rights and values are under attack. What pleased some attendees was that Trump didn't appear to make any major mistakes or give reason for pause.
I can't remember any time during the several hours this morning that his answer disappointed or there was chagrin about it.
Trump's senior advisor Sarah Huckabee also attended and spoke with CBN News.
He did something that most Republican nominees in the past have refused to do, and that's walk into this room and be willing to sit down, take their questions, and really interact with them in a very big way.
With some evangelicals still wary, the brash outsider will need more outreach. But for now, it seems to be working.
As it pertains to the evangelical vote and the candidacy of Donald J. Trump, today's meeting may very well be a tipping point.
Pro-family leader Sammy Rodriguez says he knows plenty of pastors who were skeptical before the meeting, but inside something changed.
After hearing his commitment, his very well-defined, articulated commitment to religious liberty and life, the Supreme Court especially, I think you saw a number of the same pastors walk out going, that's what I needed to hear.
And that's something the Trump campaign needed to hear after a rough few weeks of headlines. It will be important for them to build on any progress here by getting evangelicals to move beyond words and work actively for Trump among their flocks. David Brody, CBN News in New York City. David Brody here on the Brody File. I just wanted to do that. Time now for a Donald Trump evangelical Brody File commentary. Look, folks, a couple of standing ovations, 900 evangelicals in the room. That's a winning day for Donald Trump. There's no two ways around it. There were no major gaffes, quite frankly. There weren't really any gaffes at all. And the fact that Donald Trump showed up, I'm not going to say he went into the lion's den, but let's face it, he appeared before 900 evangelical leaders. That is no small task. This was a who's who in the evangelical crowd. Mega church pastors, Michelle Bachmann, Marsha Blackburn, a lot of dignitaries there. And so the fact that he actually showed up is a victory in and of itself. Now, will it help Donald Trump? Yes, I think he marched the ball down the field. The question now becomes, how much will these evangelical leaders actually get out, mobilize, send out to their email list, and make sure that Donald Trump is the next president of the United States? That we won't find out until later this fall. All right, now time for our interview with Paula White. We're here in New York. You wonder, Paula White, that's right, the televangelist. You know, she's big in that televangelist world, and she's a pastor in Orlando, and she's been a friend of Donald Trump's for 15 years and really kind of been a spiritual mentor to Donald Trump. And we had a chance to hang out and talk with her about the relationship that she's been having with Donald Trump on this evangelical walk. It's been fascinating, and most importantly, we got to hang out in a swanky hotel. Have a look.
14 years ago, approximately, I received a phone call and they said, Mr. Trump's on the line. Now, if I would have been, the apprentice was just getting started at that time, so had the apprentice been on, I would have said, you're fired, because, I'm like, sure, Donald Trump's on the line. They said, no, Mr. Trump's on the line. I get on the phone and he starts to quote back to me 3 sermons that I preached, verbatim. And those sermons are Value of Vision. And I'd done this series about vision, and he says, you're fantastic. And he said, it really ministered to me, and I loved your preaching. And so he literally gave back to me, just when I say verbatim, point for point about the word. David, quite honestly, he doesn't know our Christianese and perhaps our language that we know in the Christian world. And so someone's going to slam him when he says, well, of course I don't take communion without asking forgiveness. I understand what he's saying because I've had those private times of prayer with him, conversations with him, where someone might take a sound bite and say, oh, see, he's not saved, or he doesn't love God. That's the furthest thing from the truth. The way he discovered Paula White was watching Christian television. And Mr. Trump has always been a huge fan. Always would watch Christian television.
Do you ever wonder what God is up to in all of this with Donald Trump, making him the Republican nominee for President of the United States? What a political story, but forget the politics for a moment.
Yeah.
Just what God is doing. How do you make sense of what's happening? What do you believe is going on here?
First off, I know you when you go, how do you make sense? Do we ever make sense of God? Right. I think that his plans are not our plans. There's no way in the natural, if we were to use this terminology, that you could take a man against 17 other candidates. That if we look back at the beginning of this, very qualified candidates, and then here he is, the nominee. That has to be providence. That has to be the hand of God, in my opinion. And because of what I know about him and his family, even I believe his mother, his father, his family members, the prayers that have probably gone on for him for years and years, the way he was raised, I'm not surprised.
Paula White here on the Brody File. All right, when we come back, our new CBN correspondent, Jenna Browder, is with us in New York. Watch out, the mean streets in New York. She's walking around, and she's found some great interviews, especially with one African-American supporter of Donald Trump. He's outspoken, taking some slings and arrows. Back in a moment. And welcome back, everybody, to the Brody File. All right, time now to bring in our newest CBN News correspondent, Jenna Browder. You're going to see her a lot on the Brody File. She loves politics. She's on the Trump beat with us here in New York, and she spoke to Darrell Scott, who is an influential African-American pastor who knows Donald Trump very well. Jenna is somewhere in this city. I hope she got a hot dog. Jenna.
Hey, David. I am here with Pastor Darrell Scott, who was just inside of the meeting. He joins me now. Pastor, what is your overall reaction?
It was a tremendous meeting. Mr. Trump made a very positive impression upon all those that were in attendance, and I really believe they all went away thoroughly, not only impressed, but satisfied with the responses to the questions that he had and the overall tone that he set for the meeting.
And what were some of the things that were brought up? What did everybody talk about?
Well, we talked about Mr. Trump's commitment to Israel, and he gave an emphatic commitment to Israel. He's been for Israel, he's going to be for Israel. We talked about the Christian agenda, about promoting Christian values and defending Christian liberties, not only in America but abroad as well. And he said, that he would be a friend to Christianity and he would protect all religions, but that Christianity, he felt, was not getting a fair shake in America, and that he would do his part in causing Christianity to be protected and able to express and articulate itself without any fear of criticism or condemnation.
And you've come out and formally endorsed Donald Trump, but a lot of people in that meeting, they were kind of on the fence or just flat out not for him. What do you think their response is now?
I've been with Mr. Trump from the very beginning. I've known him for several years, so I already knew the answer to a number of the questions that they had. but he made a tremendous impression upon them. And I looked around to scan the room, and I saw a lot of people nodding their heads in affirmation, and I saw smiles on faces. He seemed very at ease and very relaxed, and I believe that disarmed the crowd. So there was no hostility, there was no tension. It was a love fest.
Pastor Scott, I know that, like you said, you've known him for many years, and I understand you and your wife had the opportunity to pray over him at one point.
Yes. On 2 different occasions, but almost 6 years ago, Mr. Trump sought out the Council of Ministers, and it wasn't a publicity stunt. In fact, it remained private. We didn't get our cell phones out and post it on social media, but he was considering running for president then, back in 2010, 2011, prior to the 2012 elections. And he said, I simply want you guys to pray with me and pray for me that God gives me wisdom and leads me in the right direction in my decision-making process. And then he came back and told us a couple of weeks later that he was not going to run. He didn't feel led by God to run, but he felt God led him this time.
This is the year for him, he says. Yeah. Well, I know as an African-American man, you've taken some arrows for your support for Trump. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I've taken a lot of arrows from the African-American community. I haven't received any from any other ethnic groups. All the racism that I've experienced has been reverse racism. I've received it from the black community. But the Bible says my people perish for lack of knowledge. It's only because of a lack of knowledge that the criticism comes. Because in their mind, how can you be black and support this gentleman that the media has told us he's a racist? But I happen to know for a fact that he's not a racist. He and I have had several dialogues concerning race and racism. He's absolutely and unequivocally not a racist. He's probably one of the least racist people that I know. And so I know that, and it's about being able to communicate that to the masses.
And one more question, will you be at the convention in July?
Oh yes, it's in my hometown, Cleveland. Go Cavs, Cleveland Cavaliers. And yes, I'll be at the convention. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful time.
Mr. Scott, thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. God bless you.
David, back to you.
Jenna, thanks. Glad you're on board. We're going to be seeing a lot of Jenna here on the Brody File because she loves politics, and we can't wait. All right, when we come back, look, the Orlando massacre. What a tragedy. And what exactly is the faith community doing about it down there? The story when we come back. And welcome back, everybody, to the Brody File here in Times Square in New York. All right, a quick break from Donald Trump and politics. We need to talk about Orlando and the massacre, the horrible, horrible tragedy that happened down there. Abigail Robertson went down to Orlando and has a look at that. As a matter of fact, she joins us now. Hey, Abigail, let me ask you a little bit about when you first got on the ground there, when you arrived, what exactly did you see? What was some of what happened there?
Well, when we first arrived on the scene on Sunday, it was just very shocking, a very, very somber atmosphere. There were police everywhere, lots of road closures. You really couldn't get anywhere near the scene of the crime. And that next day, what we saw was people in Orlando from all different types of communities coming together to support these victims in any way they could, and not just the victims, but the law enforcement, the people in the hospital who'd been working overtime. This was still a very active crime scene, and it was very hot in Orlando. So what we saw was the local businesses who had to close because of the ongoing investigation. They were opening their doors, offering bathrooms for media, for law enforcement, for just anyone out there helping. They had coolers with cold water. They had food all day long for anyone who needed it, just doing what they could to help. And then we saw people, you saw the lines at the blood banks. Everyone was donating blood, and that was wonderful. And people were just thinking of anything and everything they could do to help. There was one group who was offering pet services. These victims had pets, the people who passed away or the ones who were fighting for their lives in the hospital, and these pets needed to be taken care of. So they were out there trying to get the word out that anybody who needed their pet taken care of while they were still healing or why families were planning funerals, they were there to adopt the pets for as long as needed. And one thing that stood out to me that was just a huge miracle in all, this huge catastrophe was the hospital where the victims were taken was just blocks away from Pulse nightclub, and it is the only level 1 trauma center in all of Central Florida, meaning this hospital is specifically trained to handle catastrophes of this size, and they do drills practicing for horrific events like this. And that's one of the reasons they were prepared to stabilize a lot of the people who came in that night with 4 to 5 gunshots that walked out of the hospital 48 hours later. So as awful as all of this was, that was such a miracle that kept the death count from climbing. I mean, there were over 100 people shot, and not just shot once, but had multiple bullet wounds. So it was really amazing to see how Orlando has come together throughout all of this.
Abby, let me ask you, what can Christians specifically do to show love to the community down there in Orlando?
Well, churches and Christians have really just come out to not condemn, not judge, but just love all of the victims, all of their families, and support and pray for these people in any way that they can. We saw churches hosting special vigils. A lot of churches are offering free funeral services. Some are even taking that a step further and giving the victims' families a couple $1,000s for burial costs. And a lot of chaplains were called into the hospital to be with the victims' families when they were receiving the notification that their loved ones had passed away. And one pastor who had been there since Sunday, he was there with the families before they found out, and then he would also be there when they received the news. And he told me that in times like this, sometimes the best thing you can do is just be present. And sometimes you don't really have to say a whole lot, but just be there and let them know that you're loving them and that you're supporting them. And one of the most beautiful memorials we saw is there was one man who built 49 crosses, and each cross had a name and a picture of a victim, and then in the bottom of it was a spot where you could put notes to the loved ones. And it was just beautiful. And a lot of that kind of political tension that exists between the LGBT and Christian community, none of that was there. It was just love and support, and it was really wonderful to see.
Abigail Robertson, appreciate it. All right, when we come back, pop political time. Amber C. Strong, our producer, our reporter. I think she does everything. I don't know if she does windows, but she does everything. And we're going to talk to her. Pop political is next. And welcome back, everybody, to the Brody File. Time now. Oh, by the way, did I say we're in Times Square in New York? Watch out. Do I still have my wallet? Is my wallet? Just for the record, I have not been mugged yet, but there's still a little bit of show to be done. Time now for Amber C. Strong. You know who she is. She's our producer of the Brody File. She is reporting for the Brody File. She does pop political. What is she talking about? I don't know. I just read what's in front of me. Here she is, pop political from snazzy, jazzy, hip New York.
Hello, pop political people, and welcome to New York City. Mama, I made it. No, actually, I'm here to report on the latest in pop political news, politics, and pop culture right here on the Brody File.
And what better place than New York City? I mean, come on, it's home to Junior's Cheesecake, cue Diddy, home to Grand Central Station, cue any number of random movies, and Central Park, home to the Pigeon Lady from Home Alone 2. It was also the place of residence for both the presumptive nominee on the Democrat side and the Republican side. Speaking of the Democrat side and New Yorkers, R&B singer Alicia Keys will host an opening celebration event at this year's Democratic National Convention. The event will be hosted by Politico. Keys will also speak on a panel about civil rights and criminal justice reform. It is invite only, sorry, but you can catch a live stream of the performance on politico.com/live.
In other pop political news, have you seen this?
So it all started when Oprah Winfrey joined Mrs. Obama on stage for the United States of Women Summit. Mrs. O and Miss O discussed everything from the importance of discretion and making wise decisions on social media to balancing home and work. But this memorable moment took place when Mrs. Obama attempted to describe a surreal moment from her time in the White House. Take a look.
You know, you try to play these moments off like, oh yes, I know what I'm doing, and inside you're going, Good Good Lord.
Yes.
Watching my husband walk off of Marine One and go to the Oval Office, it's like, and you know he's got that walk, right?
I know.
Like,
He's got the swag. Did he always have that swag, or has he gotten swaggier?
No, he was very swagalicious throughout.
I have no words. I literally have no words. That's it for this swagalicious version of Pop Political. To keep up with all your politics and pop political news, be sure to keep up with me on Twitter at Amber C. Strong and David Brody at The Brody File. David, I'm gonna go try to find a slice of pizza, maybe stalk Jimmy Fallon, and toss it back to you.
Amber C. Strong doing the pop political thing, and she's doing all of this. It's like kind of like a, what is that, like a, is that a genie? Who does, whatever, I don't know what she's doing. All I know is I pull a hamstring. Can you pull a hamstring in your, you can't pull a hamstring in your hand. That's a hamstring. All right, back in a moment. And welcome back everybody to Times Square, New York. And just for the record, I still have my wallet. All right, time now. Look, how do we not go to New York? And yes, we've gotten pizza and all of that, but how do we not go to New York and do a little sights and sounds? Sights and sounds in New York City, and of course there's a lot of sights and sounds that we didn't put on the air because it's the Brody File, it's the Christian Broadcasting Network, if you know what I mean. Hey, that does it for us. Glad you joined us from Times Square, back in the stuffy old studio next week. Oh, I don't like that. I like to be out with the people. We the people. Until next time, everybody, God bless. Have a great week.